Just make the point, it's a two-way street too, and we are investing a lot more in America now. And people may not realize, but Ryanair, one of our biggest airlines, for example,
I'll trade.
AirCap,
I'll trade.
they buy more, the two of them together buy more Boeing airplanes than anybody else outside of America.
Good.
That's a little known fact. It doesn't turn up in the statistics, but Ryanair and AirCap, big aircraft leasing company, Irish company, have done great work with Boeing and huge investments over the last couple of years, you know. So, and there's a lot of Irish companies here now, about 700 odd Irish companies based in America. Glanbia, you know, Smurfit, Waterrock, I was saying to you this morning, Vice President, a lot of them creating thousands of jobs in America. And it's only fair. I mean, that's correct.
That's right.
That's the way it should happen. And I think it's a very good relationship we have. It's a historic one. It's happened over time. We've added value to American companies. We've increased their value. They've got access to the European market, and they did all of that. I understand where you're coming from fully. But I think it's a relationship that we can develop and that will endure into the future, and will change, it will adapt, and you're evolving and you're doing things.
And they've done a very good job. Now, I just will say this, but with all that we've said, we can talk about Ryanair. There's a massive deficit. I don't mean by a little bit. I mean, there's a massive deficit that we have with Ireland and with other countries too. And we want to sort of even that out as nicely as we can, and we'll work together. We're going to work together great, but the deficit is massive. Will you hear this one?
You said earlier that it was now up to Russia in terms of the ceasefire.
Yeah.
Is there anything you can do in terms of pressuring Russia or in terms of sanctions? Or what can you do?
We can, but I hope it's not going to be necessary. Sure, we can pressure. We can do that with Russia. Remember this, Russia took Georgia from Bush, right? They took Crimea from a man named Obama, Barack Hussein Obama, right? They tried to take the whole thing from Biden. They're going for the whole ball of wax. Who was the only one that never took anything from? Trump. And in fact, I'm the one that stopped Nord Stream 2, the pipeline, the biggest pipeline anywhere in the world. I stopped it. It was dead. And then Biden got in and he approved it. Nobody mentions that. What I did to Russia was very tough. I was the toughest ever. But nope, they never took anything from me. They took them from Obama and Bush, and they took it from Sleepy Joe Biden. With Biden, they wanted to take the whole country, but I think I've stopped that, but we'll see. But yeah, there are things you could do that wouldn't be pleasant in a financial sense. I can do things financially that would be very bad for Russia. I don't want to do that because I want to get peace. I want to see peace, and we'll see. But in a financial sense, yeah, we could do things very bad for Russia. It would be devastating for Russia, but I don't want to do that because I want to see peace. And we're getting close to maybe getting something done. We've got Ukraine done, and as you know, I've always said that Ukraine might have been the more difficult party. You were here a week ago when some interesting things happened. I had somebody that didn't seem to want peace. Now he's agreed to peace. So we'll see what happens. Brian?
Yes, thanks.
Thank you.
First, we'll congratulate you on your lower inflation core rates.
Thank you.
Gas prices going down, airline prices going down. This is for the Irish gentleman here, if I can see him real quickly. Welcome to the United States. You look great.
Thank you.
Nice suit.
Now you feel good. He knows.
What's coming next?
Ran on MAGA, Make America Great Again. If you could run on MEGA, Make Ireland Great Again, what would your #1 issue be for people in Ireland right now to make your country stronger? And I've got a 2-part question to that as well.
Yeah. The #1 issue in Ireland is housing, to be honest, and I think it was correctly pointed out. We've got to build more houses. We've got to build them faster to give the young people of Ireland an opportunity to afford to buy a house or to afford to rent a house. We have a lot of other good things happening. That's my #1 priority.
Wonderful.
Are you trying to
and my
service
second
the
part question to this, Ireland is known for very happy, fun-loving people, great attitude, many in this room right now that I've met. Why in the world would you let Rosie O'Donnell move to Ireland? I think she's going to lower your happiness level.
It's true. Thank you. I like that question.
Mr.
Do you know you have Rosie
President,
O'Donnell? Do you know who she is?
Do
Do you know who she is?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
You're better off
fully your job.
not, you're better off not knowing.
Prime Minister, are you expecting to inform the President your views on Gaza, considering that you have diametrically opposed positions on the state of Palestine? Your country is one of 3 in Europe that recognizes the state of Palestine. Are you expecting to discuss this with the President? Are you expecting to inform him?
I don't have to inform the President. He's very well clued into to the whole situation. We shared the President's, again, unrelenting focus on peace. And he's envoying the President himself, as soon as he came into office, went to get a ceasefire. We've been calling for a ceasefire for a long time. We wanted to consolidate the peace. That is our fundamental aim. We want the hostages out. I've been saying it from day one. It's a horrific thing to do to take someone as a hostage. And I went to Kibbutz Be'eri after October the 7th in solidarity with Israel, and that gets forgotten. And I went a week or 2 afterwards. I saw the kibbutz. It was a shocking thing to see, even though it was a week or 2 after the horror. It was a village. You could see life going on prior to the attack. It was something that will not leave me. And I've been interested in the Middle East for a long, long time. It's complex, and it's all of that. But we do desperately need the hostages out, all of them. It's been far too long. Let me finish. And then we need a ceasefire. We need to consolidate that. We need a surge of humanitarian aid into Gaza. Because again, there's too many children and too many people starving and so on. Just too many. And it's that humanitarian impulse is what motivates the Irish in respect of its views. And I've always been of the view, it's been our view that a 2-state solution would be ideal. It's become much more challenging and difficult as time has moved on. But that has always been our position. But it's genuinely to have people, because we've gone through this. We discussed this prior to you coming in. We've been through some of this. People hating each other, terrible acts of violence carried out on each other. We came through it. It's our earnest hope that Arab and Jewish people can live side by side. And I've met with people, parents of children who were killed on both sides, called Parent Circle in Israel, and they work to try and bring people together. It's difficult work.
What about the President's plans to expel Palestinians out of Gaza? Are you discussing that with him and giving him your...
Nobody's expelling any Palestinians. I don't know. Who are you with?
I'm with Voice of America, sir.
Oh, no wonder. Okay, Voice of
Taoiseach, how he feels about the President just saying that he would like to take back US companies, pharma companies based in Ireland.
Well, I think the pharmaceutical companies in Ireland are doing very well, as the President has outlined. Again, I think it's about that two-way partnership. I understand fully where the President is coming from. I think there's actually room, now we can discuss all this, I think there's room for those companies to grow in America, and many of them, by the way, have already announced fairly significant manufacturing investments now.
It's true, just recently.
Like people like Eli Lilly, for example, who have been a long-standing presence in Ireland since the 1970s. I spoke to the CEO recently.
He's great.
Great guy. And he's announced, I think, about a $50 billion investment in America.
New plans.
But there's big investment, they've had big investment in Ireland. Ireland has served them well too, The workforce is very strong. It's an educated workforce. They delivered well. During COVID-19, a number of CEOs said to me, a lot of the plants in Ireland were the only plants that never closed for a single day during COVID. Not a single day. Productivity is good and so on like that. But look, there'll be swings around.
Mr. President, thank you so much. You spoke to Vladimir Putin for quite a while on the
Yes.
phone. So I want to know your assessment. When you take this deal to him now, how do you assess the chances of Putin?
I have no assessment, and I don't go by chances. I think it makes sense for Russia, a lot of downside for Russia too. And we have a very complex situation solved on one side, pretty much solved. We've also discussed land and other things that go with it. We're not just doing it and saying ceasefire. We don't know what's happening. We know the areas of land we're talking about, whether it's pulled back or not pulled back. We've discussed a lot of the details of what has to go because we don't want to be wasting time. We don't want to be wasting time while people are dying. I mean, as we're sitting here, you probably had 2 people die on that very open field. It's dead flat. It's great farmland, and it's dead flat. There's no protection. The only thing that stops a bullet is a human body. And these are bodies that are young people, and they're stopping a lot of bullets because a lot of bullets are flying across those level fields. Dead flat, no protection whatsoever. It is a disaster. And so I hope he's going to have a ceasefire.
You are
Mr.
using,
President,
you are using the American leverage to get a lot of political issues. That you
Well, I don't want to get into that, but if I
had.
had to, I'm the only one that's dealt with them successfully. Everyone else, I went through it. Bush didn't deal with them successfully, dealt with them terribly, got ripped off. And Obama was a disaster. You know, they have with Obama, he gave them sheets, and I gave them anti-tank missiles. You know that, right? It's called Javelin. You know the Javelin? I'm the one that gave them the Javelins. People don't say that.
But
And
so
then
what
they say, oh,
relationship
Trump
do you
has a
have
great
to use?
relationship with Russia. I'm the one that gave him the Javelins.
Mr.
Obama
President.
gave him sheets. That's an expression. He
But
gave
does-
sheets, I gave Javelins. So,
Mr. President, how worried should the undocumented Irish be about your administration that you don't round them up and send them home again?
oh, I think the Irish love Trump. We won the Irish with a tremendous amount of vote. I want to thank you very much. We won in the 80s with Irish. I got the Irish vote. I think I have it locked up pretty good unless I did something very stupid, like drained your company, your wonderful place of all of its companies. If I drained Ireland of all of the companies, maybe I'd lose the Irish vote. I don't know. But right now, no. I love it. I've been there many times, as you know,
Yes.
and we don't want to do anything to hurt Ireland. We want to, but we do want fairness, and he understands that. No, that's enough, Kelly. Thank you.
President, was there anything that the Taoiseach could say to you today that would dissuade you from going ahead with 25%?
I can't hear.
Mr. President, it's Irish American Appreciation Month, you've named it there. Who's your favourite Irish person?
Oh, there's so many. Are you kidding me? Well, I do happen to like your fighter. He's got the best tattoos I've ever seen. I don't know if I'm a big, but that.
McElroy.
Conor
Is it
McGregor.
Conor McGregor?
Boy, you have well, Connor's great, right? You know, talking about Connor, but you have a lot of great Irish fighters, actually, great fighters. I don't know what that is, but Ireland's always had a lot of good fighters. You know why? Because they're tough people, they're smart people, and they're passionate people, and they really have been over the years. So many. I think your father was a great fighter, right?
He was, sure did.
Wow, and yet look at you, you're so smooth and so.
He was a very good defensive boxer. He could duck and he could weave.
He was a really good.
He was a good boxer, yeah.
Right,
He
yeah,
fought for
I heard
Ireland,
that.
boxed for Ireland, and
Yeah.
Boxed
That
some
means
very
you
good guys.
genetically, I'm not going to mess around.
Do you follow any Irish golfers?
Okay, let's, a couple of more from somebody that didn't ask a question. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Mr. President, should Apple go back to the US from Ireland?
Who?
Apple?
Oh, Apple's been treated very badly. Look, Apple had tremendously bad luck. I thought they had a very good lawsuit, but they lost
we fought with them.
$16 billion. $16 billion, and they're after a lot of our American companies. See, that's what's unfair. It's a European Union. I'm not blaming you. I'm blaming the European Union. The European Union's gone after our companies, and Apple's a great company, and they have to give $16-17 billion on a lawsuit that I didn't think was a good lawsuit. No, that's not good. No, the European, we have a problem with the European Union. They don't take our farm products. They don't take our cars. We take millions of cars, BMWs and Mercedes-Benz and Volkswagens and everything. We take millions of cars. I said to Angela Merkel at the time, I said, Angela, how many Chevrolets do we have in the middle of Munich? Why, none. I said, you're right, we have none. That's the way it is, we have none. No, I'm not happy with the European Union, I want to tell you. And,
Will you put tariffs
and
on
we're going to
cars?
win that. We're going to win that financial battle. It's a
Tariffs
financial
on
battle.
European cars, Mr. President? Tariffs on European cars, is that something you're going to consider?
Oh, absolutely, I will do that, yeah.
Mr. President, will you go to Ireland to the Ryder?
Think of it, they have millions of cars coming in, millions and millions of cars. One of probably the largest. Japan's very big too, but and they don't accept our cars. We make great cars. They don't have our cars, but we have their cars. They don't have our farm products. We have the greatest farmers in the world. They don't accept our farm products, and we accept theirs. So, you know, things are going to change unless they do what they have to do, and they know what they have to do. This is not going to be a tough battle. In my opinion, not going to be tough. Just like when Ontario charged us, everybody said, oh, they just charged. I said, this will be won in 1 hour. And they announced what we were going to do. and they withdrew their little threat. And what they don't say in Canada is that 270%, have you ever heard that? We have tariffs on dairy products from Canada of 270%, going up to 400%. You never hear that. Canada's absolutely one of the worst. And we, when I say worst in terms of charging tariffs. Their dairy products, they charge our farmers 240, 250, 270, and 400%, okay? Think of that for dairy product. And we charge them like peanuts. You know why? Because we've been improperly run for so many years. I had that all settled in my first term. But then, of course, Biden, you know, he let everything go to hell. One of the things we did is we took from China hundreds of billions of dollars, and I have great respect for President Xi. But he understood that. He understood it was a one-way street, and you can't have a one-way street. Okay? One more question.
Can you say which countries you might target in your next travel ban?
Say it.
Can you say which countries you might target in your next travel ban?
Wouldn't that be a stupid thing for me to say? I said, which countries am I going to target for the next travel ban?
As part of the.
Can you believe somebody would ask that question?
As part of the.
Specifically, you're going to put on Ireland.
Well, we're going to talk. We're going to be talking really to the European Union. You know, I will tell you this one little. We'll end it with this. So I have a property, a big property in Ireland that you know well. It's one of the most highly rated hotels in all of Europe. It's beautiful. Doonbeg. It's a beautiful 600 acres on the ocean, and everybody knows it. And we have a beautiful hotel. And I was going to do a project there, a big expansion of the place. This was when I was a civilian, before the presidency, before I even thought about the presidency. But I was going to do a really beautiful expansion of because it does very well. And I got the approvals from Ireland so quickly. They were so professional. They wanted it. You know, it's economic development, it's jobs, it's construction jobs, a big expansion, beautiful expansion. But I was told something that bothered me. They said, sir, you also have to get approved by the European Union. I said, why do I have to go to the European Union to expand a hotel that's in Ireland? They said, well, that's the way it is. I say, well, shouldn't that go fast? They said, no, it'll take at least 7 years. You gave me the approval in about 4 weeks. It was a beautiful professional. If you took 4 years, you wouldn't have done a better job. You know, everything was done environmentally, everything. There's no reason to take very long. I had everything from Ireland in 4 weeks. And then I hired somebody. He said the process will be from 5 to 7 years. And I said, oh, really? And then I found out that they weren't playing games. Now think about how bad that is for your country. So that was my first experience with the European Union, and I dropped the project. I just said, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go 7 years to expand something. But I have to, I'll hand it to Ireland. You were so professional, so good. But I don't know why. European Union had to approve it. Yeah. And with them, it was deal. And that's the European Union. So it was a very bad experience I had.
Just say, President, you have the distinction of being, I think, the only president that has physically invested in Ireland.
That's
through
good.
your Doonbeg.
And it's been a good investment.
And I mean, for anybody, you should go there. It's just stunning.
I love this.
No, I mean, even if you don't play golf, I mean, it is a stunning landscape.
Yeah.
Your people have restored it very well, and our people are going to continue to work with you on that piece to do it all sort of effectively and so on like that.
They've had a great relationship.
But it is a great, and the local people. My local councillor, Rita McInerney, texted me last week to say, tell President Trump to thank his family for the way they've worked with the local community and for the work that they've done.
I love Rory. I think Rory's great. He's a great golfer. He just won 2 weeks ago. He's a great guy. I played golf with him 3 weeks ago. And he's really a fantastic player. He's in good form, too. When he played with me, he played very well, I can tell you. No, Rory certainly is one of the favorites. He's always going to be one of them. He's a very talented guy. He's a very good person, too.
Are you planning to visit Cuba, Mr. President?
I will. I'll get there sometime. I hope soon. In fact, if we meet, we'll meet at Doonbeg. Okay, I would love. But I hope to be able to get there.
Mr. President, does America have a future in NATO?
What's that?
Does America have a future in NATO? Where do you see
Well, NATO has to
going?
treat us fairly. If they pay their bills and if they do what they're supposed to do. When I first got involved with NATO, as you know, they weren't paying their bills. There were 28 countries and most of them weren't paying. And I got them to pay. And they paid billions and billions of dollars. I made a certain statement that I'm not going to be involved with NATO unless you're going to pay your bills. And I was asked a question, if we don't pay, are you going to help us? I said, no, if you don't pay, you're saying you're delinquent. A term, a real estate term. You're delinquent. You're not paying your rent. You're not paying your bills. If you're not paying your bills, I'm not going to help. And everybody we took in, your Secretary General will tell you, he was very generous to me. He said, I've never seen anything like it. Money came in by the billions and billions and billions of dollars, and NATO became much stronger. Now, NATO's expended a lot of that money in fighting this horrible war. It's too bad they had to do that, but they had the money from me. I was the one that got people to pay. The countries, most of the countries were not paying, or they were paying a very small amount. So we'll see. But NATO can be a force for the good, absolutely.
Would you like to see Ireland join NATO, Mr. President?
That's up to Ireland.
Well, do you think Ireland and the EU are too close? Do you think that perhaps, like you said,
We are very close.
No, Ireland and the EU. Do you think there's too close a relationship there? Do you think there needs to be a separation, like you said, if you can't get planning permission when you can get it in Ireland, but you can't get it in the EU? Do you think?
Well, look, I can just tell you about my personal experience. That Ireland treated me very well, and the EU was terrible, and they stopped really a magnificent addition. It wasn't a big deal from the standpoint of the world. It wasn't like the things we're talking about now, but it would have been a very beautiful addition. And they stopped it, which is bad for Ireland. And I don't know why. I don't know why it would take 5 to 7 years to get something approved, but that's what it was. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're headed out. Thank you. All right, headed out right behind you, right behind you. Right through this door. Thanks, guys. This way, this way.
Thank you. Thank you. I should have.
Thank you.
that off. So that's that live stream. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna come back on for our 12th, a Wednesday. I'm back on. It's a do it just they're taking in too much you guys, but there is also we don't want to. So I'm going to cut the stream.